I've got a felony, no degree. I've spent 18 months in prison and probably a year in the county jail. And now I run a web agency that's cleared $15,000 in 1 month. This isn't a redemption story. I'm not going to tell you how I found myself. I'm going to tell you exactly what I did so you can do it too. I grew up without a mom. My dad did his best. He worked really hard. There was a lot of fighting, a lot of chaos in my neighborhood. And I was just bad, man. I chose to make bad decisions because that's what everybody else was doing. I was drinking, smoking, breaking into cars at 12. At 14, I had moved out, started selling weed. I worked at LaborWorks under somebody else's name because I wasn't even old enough to get my own job at LaborWorks. I sold drugs most of my life. That's been the constant throughout my whole entire life, except for this last almost 9 years. I wasted my whole entire youth. And I really thought that's just how it went for a guy like me. I'm in and out of jail a bunch. I'm on the run for a really long time. And then I get the opportunity to go to prison. And I told them gas the bus up. And honestly, I'm so glad I made that decision because prison was one of the first times that I actually felt free. Now sit with how backwards that sounds. I was locked up in prison and it was one of the first times I felt free. The record's permanent. I can't really erase it, which I kind of can, but it's there. It happened. It's part of my story. And I've had to learn how to navigate it ever since. Some days I feel like the record makes people not want to work with me. And then some days I just don't care. It's made me who I am as a person today. In 2017, I got clean, 9/11/2017, and I've never looked back since then. I detoxed in a trap house, went to my first 12-step meeting, ended up going to treatment later, went to a sober living in Cincinnati. That was it. What held was the connections I made with the people that have already done it before. I never had relationships like that in my life up until 2017. I didn't even know it was possible. And good, because pain's been the only thing that's ever forced me to change. Comfort has never allowed me to change. It's always been pain. Pain has always been a motivator for change and growth. Got clean, now what? I managed a restaurant, then behavioral health work. And this is where my story became an asset. Did that for a while, started to realize that I was really far behind on life and that it was going to be extremely difficult to get ahead of life and live the life that I really wanted to live being a behavioral health worker. I'd made it to 6 figures a year and realized that I was making more than most of the people that I knew with degrees. And I was like, whoa, this is scary. So unless I get a degree or I become an owner, like this is probably the top for me. So I started looking into ways to make more money and make money remotely because freedom started to be more important to me than anything else. I was tired of answering the phone 24/7 and having to show up to places all the time. And that's where software development came in. Started studying from YouTube, building my own projects, ended up going to a coding boot camp and got a couple interviews, but the problem was they were all government contracts and they would not hire a felon like me. And that wall, which at the time felt so devastating, is the whole reason I'm here right now in the position that I'm in. Nobody was going to hire me. And I have a family to take care of, and I was going to make sure that we had money and a place to live no matter what. That's when I stopped looking for a job and I started to build skills that I could sell myself. So I focused on front-end development, building websites, free code camp, the Java boot camp. The boot camp did me absolutely no good, but free code camp was a resource that I used very heavily to learn basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I wasn't a genius in a hoodie. I just found a problem and solved it for small businesses. I sold my first website for $250 to somebody I knew, and I didn't even feel ready. And honestly, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together that this was a possibility as a career. But like I said, I was desperate and I had no option but to move forward and figure something out. This right here, selling that one website for $250 had opened up a whole new door that I didn't even know was possible. So I started selling $250 websites to plumbers, electricians, cleaning companies, whoever would buy them. I was broke. I was scared. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew how to build websites. Very simply. But then in 2023, I started to realize that this was actually a business and the websites wasn't really what people were buying. So I started to learn about SEO, lead generation, Google business profile, ads, everything that goes into getting leads for new businesses, because that's what a website was for. Originally, I thought websites were just a brochure whatever. They actually can work for you if done correct. So I started to go down that rabbit hole of figuring out what can I do to make these websites more valuable to the customer. Because one thing I do know is that if you want to make more money, you have to become more valuable, period. So I started turning in visitors, cold calls, phone calls into actual clients that repeat pay. So I lowered my setup costs because my prices went up much, much higher. But then I learned, hey, I like reoccurring revenue. It helps me address other people that can't necessarily pay all the money up front. So recurring revenue allows them to get a higher end website for we'll call it kind of like a payment plan, plus take care of hosting and the other things that do go into it. And I built up to a $15,000 month doing this from my spare bedroom in my house. So now I don't focus on the pretty websites, although I know that's a hook for people. It's a good looking website, but I focus on what's going on underneath. I focus on the analytics and what's coming back from that website. Are we getting traffic? Are they getting calls? Are forms being filled out? If not, we need to work on something. I had no choice but to build this business. I got sole custody of 2 of my kids since 2019, 28. They rely on me, right? I have other kids too that rely on me, but I've kind of already failed them. So now I just focus on the ones that I have now. Try not to fail them and be better moving forward. I've made lots of mistakes in my life. I don't want to continue to make these major mistakes, although I continue to make these. So everything I build today, all the stuff that I'm trying to accomplish is so I can give my family a better life. And that is my big why. And I'm a big proponent of or advocator for you having a why you're building your business, because it's going to be difficult. It's not going to happen as fast as you think it is. There's going to be issues that you can't even imagine. And you need to have a big why, because it's going to be hard to keep going. Plenty of times in me building this business, I've wanted to give up. So many different times I thought about, I'm about to just stop this all. And thank God I haven't, because it just keeps growing and getting bigger and bigger. And now it has been my full-time thing for the last couple years, and it keeps growing. If you're starting over with a record, if you're broke, if you're scared, I'm not going to sell you a dream. This takes work. It takes time. It takes patience. So I'll show you the actual moves that I've done to accomplish it in my life. Everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. And most people accept mediocrity. I don't. I refuse it. If that's you too, stick around. I've been documenting my whole journey on this channel. You can see from the first time I started writing code until now, years. And I document exactly how I get clients, new things that I find, and I'm even made a book outlining it all. Yeah, I made a book. Yeah, I want to make money from this. Sue me. I also give you lots of information for free right here on the YouTube channel. I'm an open book. So subscribe now. Follow along if you want to see me build this into $1 million empire.